how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to start a new reading vlog, and it's gonna be dedicated to all the queer dark academia books that I've accumulated over the years. To keep this intro cute and short, we're going to just mention the titles and not go into the details. So the first book that I want to read is Summer Suns by Mandelo. I know that it's a Southern Gothic and that it's also supposed to be dark academia. The cover is beautiful, it gives me a lot of ideas and I really enjoy it. So we'll see if I'll actually enjoy the book. The second book that I want to pick up is A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. And I've heard about this one a lot. I'm very hyped for it. It was on my most anticipated of 2021. It's supposed to be sapphic and witchy. Also don't know how these elements fall into the story, but I really want to figure it out. So we'll see. This one is young adult. The third book that I'm hoping to get a crack on in this video is the very hyped Ace of Spades by Faridah Àbíké-Íyímídé. I know that this book is extremely popular everywhere, including TikTok for some reason. TikTok just really loves this book. They say that it's super dark and very exciting and very impactful and all the good adjectives. So this book is supposed to be about a private school. It's dark academia and it's supposed to be Gossip Girl inspired. This also is supposed to follow the only two black students in that school. So that's an interesting concept. We'll see what comes of it. These are all the three books that I'm planning to read for this video. Wish me luck. I want to find new favorites. Without further ado, we don't want to make this video too long. We're going to jump into the action. Okay, so it might feel a little bit quick because I had the audacity to not update you at all while reading this book, but I just found my new favorite dark academia book, it's huge. It's a lot. The Secret History was my first dark academia and it set the bar high. That book is a masterpiece. Can you guess what book I'm talking about right now? The new favorite? Write it down in the comments down below. The book that I'm talking about is actually A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. It's been a day since I finished it. My feelings are still all over the place. I think it's genius. It is genius. This book has everything I love in dark academia. It's as if it was specifically written for me, and I honestly don't think I deserve it. So, the first 100 pages, I'm bored. I don't know what to do with myself. I want to DNF. I don't care about anything that is happening. It's very slow. The protagonist is super mopey and is very passive. The protagonist's name is Felicity. She goes to this elite school named Dalloway School that was supposedly set up by Salem witches. Fun fact, she was in this sorority/witch circle, and so was her friend/lover, with whom she had let's be frank, a volatile relationship. They were friends, they were lovers, but also they were fighting a lot. Long story short, she died and Felicity was a suspect in the case because the police wasn't sure if it was actually an accident or not. Felicity herself is very vague on the details. There are certain things that she remembers, but we're not sure if she remembers them correctly, so she's a very unreliable narrator. Now, I still think that some of the mopiness and some of the prolonged setup could have been cut shorter, but when I reached the 50% of the book, it picked up. And it picked up in a way I didn't expect it to pick up because I was quite confident at 50%, because it's 50%, you guys, that it's not going to be good, that it's going to be a flop. And it was not a flop. It was genius. It honestly just got so good that at some point I couldn't stop myself. I just needed to know more and more. What you need to know about this book is that it's very Hannibal-esque. Whole pieces of dialogues were lifted from the show and put into this book and rewritten to make sense. If you love Hannibal, you're going to love this book. And I know that I promised that a lot because I'm constantly looking for Hannibal dynamics in books at the moment because I'm still obsessed with the show. And I swear to you, I'm not lying. It's Suffolk Hannibal, reworked Hannibal, but still Hannibal. And I just love that. Honestly, the second part redeemed the first part to me to the point where I started seeing why the first part was slower, why it needed to be so. I still think that certain things could have been cut a little bit shorter, but I still think the book is genius. So basically, after Felicity's girlfriend dies, she has a full mental health crisis and is put by her mother into a hospital. So when she comes back a year later, she's introduced to a whole new group of girls, and one of them is Alice, who is this prodigy, a best-selling author at 17, and who truly believes in experimenting and doing every single thing she writes about because she wants to write authentically. And she is very intrigued by Felicity's story because she wants to prove to Felicity, who's very superstitious, she believes that some magic took place at the murder/death of her ex-girlfriend, that magic is not real and witches do not exist, and that her ex-girlfriend died in very ordinary circumstances. Certain things in this book were expected because of the genre. We know what dark academia is about, but Victoria Lee still managed to include certain twists and certain elements and certain details that were very original. The last 20/30 pages, I cannot spoil this book to you because you won't enjoy it as much, but they kept me so tense, I developed abs. It was so good, and I feel like I'm not doing this book justice. Just keep in mind, if you started, that the first 100 pages is just setup. It's setup, and then you'll get the whole picture, and then it will get exciting. It was just everything I've ever wanted from a dark academia book, with a little something extra if we're being honest. For example, Suffix didn't need to make an appearance in this, and they made a really good appearance for the team in this book. Buy it, take it from your library, lend it, read it. I insist. It's gonna be one of my faves of the year, that's for sure. I don't know if the lighting is annoying or not. It probably is because it's just overhead lighting, but I cannot be arsed to move. Honestly, the most annoying part about filming is just setting up for filming because I have a very small apartment. I have to take everything down every single time, so I don't have a designated space for filming, and it's kind of a bummer. I started Summer Suns by Mandelo, and actually I'm really enjoying it. The atmosphere is so good. It's so good. It's so far above this guy Andrew that comes to his best friend's funeral. His name is Eddie. From the conversations that are happening, it kind of feels like they were either involved in the past or they had some issues, like they were involved before Eddie died, but they had some issues and Eddie was pushing him away because Eddie moved to a different city. They both wanted to pursue academic careers, and Eddie went to a different city to scout a university, and I think he stayed way too long there, and he constantly told Andrew to not come because he's not ready. And I'm like, what is going on? Does this guy has a whole other family out there and he's just not telling Andrew about this? It's also adult and you can tell. It's on a different level. It's the subtlety, the nuance, everything that I want in a dark academia. Well, everything that I want in any book. Also, I think, I'm not sure yet, maybe it's a metaphor or something, but I think Andrew sees dead people. I've been laying like this for a couple of hours reading, and I gotta say that Andrew is not hallucinating. he's seeing dead people, which is really creepy because I'm here alone and the apartment complex is very noisy and I hear noises sometimes that I can't explain and it's getting creepy. So I'm laying with all the lights on, fuck the light bell. I just want to feel safe. Anyway, I love the neighbor character. Basically what happened is Eddie was very rich and all the money that he had he left to Andrew, which proves to me that they were maybe more than friends or maybe had feelings for each other. I don't know. So he leaves him all his properties, all his money, and Andrew moves into the house where Eddie lived this whole time. And there's this guy named Riley. Riley is cute. I love Riley. He also, I think, is trans, and I also think he may be polyamorous. I'm not sure yet, but he's dating this girl. And also, he apparently is dating this other guy. I don't know how this whole relationship works yet, but if you're looking for something polyamorous on the background, pick this book up, I guess. There's also Sam, who is Riley's cousin, and this guy is really intense. I don't know what to make of him. He's very much the angry, full of testosterone type, but I kind of feel like maybe he's also a gay cousin. Maybe I'm reading way too much into it, but some of the discussions that he and Andrew have are suspicious. They're suspicious. Also, I think Eddie was trying to figure out why Andrew and he are seeing these dead people because Eddie was seeing them too. This book is so interesting. It's very interesting. I made a bit of a break that you might not even notice because I am going to edit this video. The problem is it's not going to be released in the Dark Academia season. So it's not going to be released in the fall. It's going to be released hopefully in the spring season. What can you do? I was not in the mood for Dark Academia for some time. I wanted to read some romances. I'm going to take my makeup off. I know it seems like I don't have any. I have some, and I have to get ready and to go pick up my cat from my parents and go to the vet with him because he's sick and is currently on antibiotics after his surgery, so I have to be a responsible cat aunt. I refuse to be a cat mom. I'm a cat aunt. I'm not that old. Anyway, I've read Summer Suns by Mandelo. It was very unexpected because I don't know anyone who read this book so far on BookTube. Maybe I'm not watching that much BookTube anymore. Hearing that it's a queer Southern Gothic was enough for me. I was hooked. I knew I was going to read it, but the fact that it's also Dark Academia sealed the deal. Anyway, it's an adult novel too, so I was very excited. And I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It's undeniably a 5-star book for me. There were a few things that I was like squinting at, but I still can't give it less than 5 stars because it just impressed me so much. The story follows... Sorry, that was probably too loud. The story follows a guy named Andrew who is stricken by grief because his childhood best friend, Eddie, possibly committed suicide. That's what the police thinks. They had an extremely close relationship, which was a bit fucked up. It was not ideal. They undeniably had feelings for each other, but they never confessed. They were those type of friends that seemed inseparable, and nothing could stand between them. Throughout the first part of the book, Andrew is alluding that something pretty dark happened to him and Addie when they were teenagers. He's not really telling what, and I'm not going to tell you what exactly either, because it's part of the suspense of the novel and part of the lore. But after they both started seeing revenants, which obviously made them closer because they couldn't share it with anyone that they're seeing ghosts, technically. The thing with Eddie is he was leaning into the power and Andrew wanted out of it. He didn't want to do anything with it, which was kind of an underlying conflict in their relationship. They got older, they decided to pursue an academic career in the same university. Eddie went to scout the place and he was constantly telling Andrew to not come. because he's not ready. And Andrew was becoming jealous because Eddie was finding new friends and building a new life out there without him. So when he receives the news that Eddie died, possibly killed himself, he is shell-shocked. He doesn't understand what's going on. He doesn't believe that Eddie could have done this because he just believes that he knew him better than other people. Since Eddie is an orphan and Andrew's parents adopted him into the family because the families were friends, Andrew also is the receiver of all the money and property that Eddie has, and Eddie was very rich. So Andrew grew stricken, comes to the funeral, he moves into the house where Eddie lived, meets his roommate and friends that Eddie made, and he believes that possibly those friends murdered Eddie. He's also haunted by Eddie's revenant, and he doesn't really know what to do because he realizes that when he came after Eddie to Eddie's hometown, his powers became stronger and he's now seeing those revenants more frequently. It's very hard to explain all the details of the plot, and I don't really want to do it because I don't think it would be interesting for you if I'm going to spoil everything. But it's such an intricate, very interesting story. Andrew develops all these relationships with people that knew Eddie that Andrew didn't know, because with them he was a different person. It has very engaging characters and relationships. It also has so much well-crafted suspense. There's only two things that I can complain about. The first thing is that they did drugs way too much, and they were doing some dangerous driving way too much. It took away from the plot because it took too much of the plot, in my opinion. The second thing is the actual villain of the story. I don't think it's very refreshing or revolutionary. I think it's a very old and very annoying trope, but I don't see who from this cast of characters would have been a better villain or a more suitable villain for this storyline. I have to give it a pass. This book is phenomenal. I highly recommend it. It also is set in academia because they both wanted to pursue academic careers. And it talks a lot about the inequality in academia, who gets what, who gets opportunities, how marginalized people navigate that space. Very, very interesting stuff. I highly recommend this book. Highly. It actually, I think, is even labeled as horror, but I don't think it's that scary, honestly. I need to go. I think I'm done. I only had some mascara on, and yes, I'm taking off makeup to go outside. It seems counterproductive, but I put some mascara to film, and I don't like wearing mascara all the time, so. I'm back with some updates. It's 6 p.m, so the sun is setting. It's a bit bleak in the room, but honestly, represents my mood very well. It's the 15th of February, and I was dumped on the 13th, right before St. Valentine's, which sucked. I'm really bummed out right now because it was out of nowhere, and also I really liked her. It's really hard to find people in my age bracket that are single, A, B, are willing to take on a commitment. I don't know why I meet so many people in their late 20s, early 30s that are not willing to commit. It seems like the age of commitment. Anyway, the third thing is I'm really picky at my age because I know what I need and want, and it's really hard to find a person that I have a good chemistry with and with whom I'm compatible. So I'm sad, especially because this was just so out of nowhere. I just don't like it when people don't communicate. They're rather overthink in their head about an issue that sometimes they just made up, and then instead of figuring it out with you, they just leave because they're just scared to talk. I wish communication was a bit more easy for everyone. It's not easy for me, but I'm trying. So, I don't know. I'm very confused right now and bamboozled, honestly. I'm getting out on the apps, I guess, because otherwise I'm just going to overthink what happened.
Get used to disappointment.
And I was reading a lot, because I do read when I distract myself. I was reading not for this vlog, just generally, but also I've read quite a few chapters of Ace of Spades. I am listening to the audiobook on Scribd, so I cannot really tell you which chapter it is exactly, but so far it's very Gossip Girl-esque because the story is set in a private school, duh. It's a dark academia reading vlog. It has two point of views. One is of a guy named Devon who is queer and who's hiding it. He comes from a very modest family and he got into the school on scholarship. He's not a straight A student, but he's really into music and he wants to get into an art school. And the second character is Chiamaka. She is the queen bee. She's very ambitious and resourceful. She's new money, so she really had to claw her way through the hierarchy to get on top. She's cutthroat, she's willing to fight for this position, she wants to get into a really good school, and she has a crush on this popular guy named Jamie, who is a legacy. He's very, very, very popular and basically is one of the most sought out guys in the school. They're best friends, they tell each other everything. He is incredibly romantic. He wants to meet the one. They started hooking up before the year started, and she expected him to finally ask her out officially, but instead he asks another girl out, which breaks her heart. I don't know if it's going to affect her reputation at all, but I feel like it's going to be a big plot point. They also have a secret because they've done something together that is not legal. What makes it very Gossip Girl-esque is that there is this anonymous entity called ISIS that starts sending revealing text messages to all the students in the school. No one really knows who it is, but they do have some very secret information. Pretty early into the novel, Devon is outed by ISIS. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. It does seem to be a bit juvenile right now, but it is a young adult book, so I don't know what I expected. Some people on TikTok in particular were so shocked and so offended by this book because it gets really dark apparently, and I am a different breed of person. I am going to be shocked and offended if it's not going to get dark, because I need it to get dark for it to be dark academia. People that pick up dark academia and are scoffing at dark elements of the dark academia, what are you doing? I'm going to go take another bath maybe, because what is the point of anything? I don't know. Hi, this reading vlog is a train wreck, or rather, my life right now is a train wreck. Since the last update, shit happened. I would even say there was some foreshadowing in the last clip. I'm getting out from the apps, I guess, because otherwise I'm just going to overthink what happened. First of all, I went back on Tinder like an idiot because I was annoyed, I guess, and desperate, and I went to Tinder and I got Tinder swindled. The irony of that is that I actually just watched the Tinder Swindler like a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking to everyone about this, and I got Tinder Swindler. So what happened is I met a girl on Tinder, we matched, she started writing to me. I was like, how refreshing, a girl writing first. Wow, never happens. Anyway, she was writing to me and was very interested in me. Once again, very suspicious. I don't know why I was not suspicious. We moved to WhatsApp and we were talking on WhatsApp. Her responses were kind of short, and I don't know why I didn't find that suspicious again, but I didn't. And I asked her out to go somewhere on my weekend. And she said
yes.
And also said,
let's go to a stand-up show.
And I'm like, okay, that sounds great, let's go to a stand-up. And she sends me a link to a website, which was like a ticket-selling website that turned out to be a phishing website. She said that she bought a ticket for herself and sent it to me and was like,
buy a ticket for yourself that is alongside me.
And I went on the website and bought a ticket that I never got, but the money was stolen from my account, which was a lot of fun. Then she continued to pretend that nothing is happening and said,
Go to that website and ask for a refund.
which I did, and they were really shady. They were like, you should have the same amount of money on your card that you've spent to get a refund. And I'm like, why? Why? Do you really think that I'm that much of an idiot? Obviously, they did think that I'm an idiot because I got caught. Everything immediately cleared up. She doesn't have a profile anymore. It's as if she'd never existed. And I went to talk to my bank, and I had to block my cards, and I had to change the passwords to my accounts. It was a mess. It was a lot. It's not that I lost a lot of money, it's just the irony of it. Because I talked to that girl about the Tinder swindler as well, and she was like,
Yeah, shit like this happens all the time, and I'm not surprised.
and I was like, yeah, what a good conversation. This is it, you guys. The winter-spring season for dating is not for me. It's not happening. I'm closing my legs till summer. Hopefully summer is gonna be better. Anyway, Ace of Spades. I finished it. Or rather, I DNF'd it, babes. Because Ace of Spades was not as good as you've told me. It's not good. I'm sorry. It's very one-dimensional and very juvenile. And I don't know why I'm surprised. It's a young adult book. I guess I just expected it to have crossover appeal, and it didn't have crossover appeal in my opinion. I think especially the third part of the book, I DNF'd it at about 60%. It just turns 360 for no reason, as in people that are actually villains apparently in this book didn't show many signs, at least some of them. It doesn't seem very plausible, and also it has so many plot holes. To give you a hint, it's a bit like Pretty Little Liars. It's actually the story that I would compare Ace of Spades to, not Gossip Girl, for sure not Gossip Girl. If you care about spoilers and you have not read this book but want to, stay, and I'm going to give you the timestamp where you should move in this video if you don't want to be spoiled. I'm going to talk about the twist in 1, 2, 3. The twist in this book is Chimaka and Devon are targeted by a racist secret society. It's not that it's unbelievable that black people would be targeted for their race. It's just more subtle, and then this one is just so straightforward. And also this whole rule about taking 2 black people in every 10 years to ruin them basically was so whack to me, because why would you? If they didn't want black people to attend the school, they could have easily made it happen. Why take them at all? 0 cents. Why not start breaking them down when they just started attending the school? It also made 0 sense to me. Some of the motives of the individual characters didn't make much sense either for me. For example, when Devon's music teacher just turned on him suddenly, it was just so whack. It kind of felt in the moment like it's a middle grade novel, like it's Coraline and she suddenly figured out that her mom has buttons for eyes. It lacked a lot of nuance for me. Also, it was occasionally just trauma porn, in my opinion. Anyway, I just didn't love this book. The first part felt like a regular, basic young adult thriller mixed with some teenage drama, which was kind of meh. The second part got a little bit more interesting, and the third part was just poorly executed and not believable. I usually don't DNF books at 60%. I do read them till the end. I guess this is gonna be it for the video. I loved A Lesson in Vengeance. I loved Summer Suns. Wasn't in love with Ace of Spades, but it happens. If you have any dark academia books that you want me to read and you think I'm going to enjoy, leave the titles in the comments down below. If you read any of these books, tell me what you thought of them. If you have opposing opinions, please, always welcome. It's not going to change anything for me. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope I'll see you soon with another one. But until then, bye.